Yes, I think we do.
Let's call this meeting to order, and if y'all been able to read the minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Budget approved, minutes approved. First item, do we have public comment? You're just here for the enjoyment?
Just trying to figure things out.
We are.
Yeah, and this is a good place to start the budget.
Yeah. None. Cool. First item, proposed budget amendment number 3 to recognize insurance recovery for $11,520.76 for JPD Unit 2262 with a total loss.
They had a car accident.
Once again, when we approve these, the money goes to,
Goes to an expense account that is later used to repair or replace the car.
okay. Just confirming.
Yeah.
So we would do these one by one. So,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, we don't have a pot of reserve or anything?
Well, I mean, this is how the money
Double
gets
reserve.
to that, this is how the money gets to that expense account.
Okay,
And then they may purchase, I mean, I don't know, they may repair a car, purchase a car using that expense account, the one that's outlined in there.
I thought it was interesting that this was a total loss for
Yeah.
11,000.
Well, and we've had some conversations, Frank, you know that some of these vehicles are quite old, so,
I assume this was a white one.
yeah.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have proposed budget amendment number 4 to recognize an insurance recovery for $17,580.23 for JPD Unit 2128 repairs plus a tow bill of $100.
So moved.
second,
Motion second. All in favor say aye.
aye.
I'll just note that this one is $17,000, and for that amount of money, it was worth repairing, which would make me think this vehicle is much newer than the one that was a total loss at $11,000, so.
Mhm. By the way, on that previous one, we didn't vote in favor. So the previous motion and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes too. Next, number 3, proposed budget amendment number 7 to recognize AARP Community Challenge Grant of $20,000 for the Office of Innovation.
Yes, please.
This budget amendment is to recognize a grant that the city received from AARP to run an ADU design contest. This is something that AARP does to help. They run this program where they're very passionate about finding ways for senior citizens to better age in place, stay in their home. And so one of the things that they have done is rolled out a grant program where cities can run design contests to accept designs for pre-approved ADU plans. If you're not familiar with an ADU, it's an accessory dwelling unit, kind of like a granny flat, carriage house, tiny home in the backyard sort of deal. And so what the contest does is we would accept designs from architecture firms, engineering firms, architecture schools, all that, and then the best plans would be awarded a stipend for winning in the contest. And so that's what the grant funds do, is help us to have prizes for the contest. And we were, like I said, one of the cities that was selected by National AARP this cycle to run a contest for this. So
So, running the contest, so what is the end game? I mean, just the contest do money?
So the end game of the grant is, we give out these stipends for designs. And then what we would have is pre-approved plans for anybody who wants to build like I said, a granny flat, a tiny home in their backyard, would not have to go through normal design review through planning, because we would be stamping and saying we accept this plan, no review is necessary, and you can build it in your backyard.
So that winning individual or whatever would use their design for the,
So anybody can use the design in the city. So the contest gets awarded to, like I said, some kind of architecture or engineering firm. And then those plans would be uploaded on the city's website that anybody in the city could use if they wanted to build a tiny home in their backyard. They wouldn't have to pay somebody else to design one. They could just download the free plan and say, yes, I want to build this in my backyard, and it would be pre-approved.
But essentially, this grant money though is just, I mean, the city's just a pass-through.
Correct, yes,
ARP's paying it, this money's gonna turn around, and go out to the contest winner.
correct.
We get ancillary benefit because we've got a pre-approved.
Building plans that anybody in the city can use,
Meets our
correct.
code here, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So the firm has already been identified for the
No, we're
20,000?
going to be launching the contest within a couple of weeks. This fund money is, the budget amendment is for the prize money for the contest.
Okay.
And there's a little magazine of sorts that you can look through with some of the homes that have been submitted in other places.
Yep.
It's really interesting to see,
Mhm.
and they're not large.
Yeah,
I
they're-
love this. Let me ask you one additional question. Since it's through AARP, is this just for seasoned residents, or can these plans be available to any resident?
yeah, anybody, the plans will be on the city's website that anybody can download and use. AARP likes this model because it allows for example,
and it's been, give me 1 second.
mother-in-laws to live in the backyard rather than having to go into the nursing home, right, in the tiny home. So it kind of provides more opportunities for independence. Part of the design contest requirements will be that your home will have to be accessible for senior citizens. That's where the AARP kind of guideline comes in, is that their members have to be able to live in the homes that are designed, but anybody can use them and build them in their backyard.
Right?
I appreciate you using the term seasoned.
That's right.
Motion,
I'll make a motion.
second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have a proposed budget amendment number 8 to recognize insurance recovery of $13,228.13 for JPD Unit 2272 for the repairs. And this one too probably is a newer vehicle.
Yeah. And this is actually the second time this vehicle has been in an accident the last 6 months.
Wow.
Um,
I make a motion.
Okay, motion,
A second.
motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And Tyler Munis.
Let's do revenue first, okay?
Okay.
Our June fiscal year in non-property tax revenue was slightly more than expected. Local option sales taxes were about $25,000 more, and state sales taxes were about $38,000 higher than in the same period last year. If you look at the total numbers at the bottom right of both of those columns, you'll see that it is smaller in '25 than it was in '24. That's due primarily to JEA's tax equivalent payments, the way that they calculate those. We're actually going to see about $100,000 more in JEA tax equivalencies this year based on their calculations. But overall, sales tax did not continue to perform as well as we had hoped it would this last year. We're seeing some signs that is picking up a little bit, as you can see in the May and June numbers, but that's where we are with that. For fiscal year '25, non-property tax revenue averaged about 0.6% higher than the previous year. We have collected $193,000 more in non-property tax revenue than we had at the same time last year. Property tax collections are in line. Property tax collections are in line with the same period last year. We have collected about $212,000 more than at the same approximate time. and there's a little more than $1.36 million left in property tax left. As part of the revenue process, it's important that we try to monitor and make sure that we're collecting everything that belongs or is payable to the city, and members of our revenue team now have access to the state's revenue external portal, which will allow us to audit to some extent sales tax collections from individual businesses, and also to track trends with some of our larger sales tax sources. And so that's something that is now available to us, and we're going to try to take advantage of that.
Define some of our larger,
Big box stores.
okay.
And so you think about seasonal things from some of these large retailers. We might be able to better predict what those trends are gonna look like, especially over time. And this portal actually gives us detailed tax information by the person that's paying the taxes, which is useful. It's also good so we can see if somebody's actually paying sales tax, you know? I mean, because sometimes people don't. But that's, it's gonna be a nice tool. It's not like a huge game changer, but it's one more tool in the tool belt that we'll be able to use to better monitor that information. So. That's what I've got for revenue. Do you want to talk about Tyler Mutis now?
Please.
The FY26 budget has been posted, or soft posted, for use in our accounting system, which is really exciting. Our department heads and different folks can look in their Account Central tool and monitor their budget in real time. It's also available on the Open Finance portal if you visit the city's website. Because the budget is integrated into our requisition and purchase order system, which we began using July 1st.
Okay.
Users will have real-time feedback on available funding. This will and has already prevented people from going over on budget items that they don't have money in that particular budget line for,
Wonderful.
which has resulted in a couple of phone calls. Folks want to know why they can't buy something right now, but it's just, the budget's not there. Our property tax training in Tyler has gone incredibly well. You guys may remember the last couple of months I was a little pessimistic potentially about property tax in October. Our training that we did in July went very well. We're still anticipating going live with property tax in August. We're going to call this a soft go live. We will actually be collecting property tax in the new system. We want to be able to use this in August and September, so our revenue team is familiar with the software and how it works, so that when they're hit with the big stuff in October, they're familiar enough with the software that it's not.
When do the tax notices come out?
We figure they will come out the 1st of October. Last year, I understand here that they were toward the middle of October, or maybe later in the month, I can't remember, but there was a holdup in one of the other districts, jurisdictions. And they don't release the tax notices until all the jurisdictions in a county have certified their tax rates. And there was one in Madison County that was late last year, and so it's just whenever they're all available is when they come out. But I mean, some years we've seen them as early as late September, but October 1st is sort of the goal right there.
And are ours due by February or
They're due
December
by
31?
December 31. We did manage to load our tax files. One of the problems that we've been having is getting the tax file from the state to load into the Tyler system. We managed to load that without any problem. The assessor's office had to make a couple of tweaks to a couple of personal property tax records that didn't have jurisdictions assigned to them, and we got that done actually last week. The revenue department is using the much more user-friendly cashier module that I told you guys about the last meeting we had. They're taking almost all payments through that except for business tax. One of the neat features is they can actually email you a receipt now.
That is nice.
I mean, it's a small thing, but, you know, especially if you've got a huge property tax bill, we could just email it as opposed to send it. H&S Health and Sanitation has completed their conversion to Tyler for payments and billing. They've run their first billing, and it seems to be going fairly well. In addition to the improvements they're experiencing directly, our team in accounting gets real-time revenue information from them. As soon as they receive the revenue, at the end of the day, it posts to the general ledger, so we're getting that almost immediately, where previously we had to go through a transmission and verification and conversion process to do that. Now we're getting that information in real time, which is going to be one of the advantages to the property tax system as well. Right now, we still have to verify that information. Once we get it in Tyler, it's going to be, at the end of the day, the packet will post. It's going to be that clean. And at this point, the only thing that we have pending is the business tax system. And Frank and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I think I've told y'all before, there are 13 training sessions associated with business tax. Those are 13 8-hour sessions. And I do not think, I hope that we would be ready with business tax by October by October as well. I don't see how that's going to be possible. If we get into Tyler with property tax and it's going extraordinarily well, we may come up with sort of a workaround so that we don't have just one thing in the legacy system. Jack, you probably know a lot of cities don't use any any business tax collection software. They use the state system and a spreadsheet.
That's right.
We could do that short term here. Long term, it'd be good to have it in the system because it's easier to collect. But if it meant that we didn't have to be running 2 different systems, that might be a big advantage to us. And
absolutely.
we're talking about that. But again, I was a little pessimistic about property tax the last time we talked, and I'm less so now. The business tax is the only thing that is still going to be hanging out there after we finish property tax.
Why is the business tax so hard?
It's not, it's not been on the revenue from the business tax is one of the things it's one of the smaller revenues that we collect. And so we wanted to be sure we could get property tax. We wanted to be sure that we could get all this other stuff in there. And business tax just kept getting pushed back. And it's not hard.
No.
That's okay. It's not necessarily hard, it's just got to be done.
Yeah.
You know,
Then that makes sense.
so.
So I'm just curious about, I'm sorry, I haven't been here for a while. So from the user end, how have employees been experiencing Tyler Munis, and what kind of support do they have?
Well, most of our employees that deal with it on a day-to-day basis, they've done 2 things. First of all, they went through the budgeting process using the central budget module. They all seem to love that compared to passing around spreadsheets back and forth and back and forth. They seem to love that. And then the accounting, the people who are doing financial functions in the various departments deal with what we call Account Central, which allows them to look at their budget in real time and to actually drill down by transaction to see how something was charged. They seem to love that.
And I suspect as we get further into this fiscal year, they'll love that even more.
Oh, yeah.
Especially come next spring.
Okay.
Right, when we're kind of trying to really see how much budget do I have left, what I need, things of that nature.
Well, and
Having it real time is, in my book, that's huge.
oh, it's
Yeah.
huge. It is absolutely
Definitely.
huge.
Whether they realize it all or not, that's
not
huge.
yet,
Yeah, it's gonna be a
yeah.
huge benefit.
We've got one department who, like our maintenance department charges out things to other departments. And they're very good at it, and they're meticulous, but they're not always correct.
Yep.
And so I had a lady from one of our other departments call me, and she says, this says that maintenance charged so-and-so. We didn't do that. And I'm like, well, you need to talk to maintenance about that. Because, she printed it out and brought it to me. She said, is that what this means? I'm like, yes, ma'am, that's And so they reallocated that, and it was, but it's a neat feature, and we've gotten almost entirely positive feedback from folks. Now, as far as supporting them, the requisition and purchase order system is supported by the purchasing team with backup from our team. The real-time monitoring those functions, people on our team can help with that, and I'll be honest, requisitions, the purchasing team is actually good with that as well, because they see both sides of it. And then if there's a particular problem with something, the IT folks are very good at helping people get access to something if they don't. We still deal with that. Someone will call and say, I should be able to see this set of accounts and I can't. So you've got to go in there and figure out why why they can't see that. But they, I mean, they're all, it's almost universally positive feedback.
Question.
Yes.
Last year in the budget, the JPD went over $700,000. Will this system help us control that and know where we are? And I assume with the old system, we didn't have any current numbers. It was just hard to calculate that.
Well, the problem, yes, the short answer is yes. So right now, if, for example, somebody from the Parks Department wanted to purchase a vehicle, they would go into the requisition and purchase order system and type in the description of what they're doing, prove that they did the proper procurement process. That was fun to say. And then they would punch in a general ledger account number, and it would tell them, you don't have any money to buy vehicles in there. And then they might call me and say, I thought we had money for a truck in our budget. And I'd say, no, don't you remember they took that out? You know, and at that point, they would either request a budget amendment, which would come before you guys, or they'd just wait. I mean, it's one of those, as we've talked about this the last several months, I talked about the requisition and purchase order system being a set of controls on the front end, right there in the very beginning. And that's truly what's happening. I mean, we're seeing it every day right now. Some of it is mistakes. They want to charge it to the wrong account. There's not money there, and so we say, no, you really need to put it here. And some of it, they thought something was in the budget, and it's not. But that means that money's not being overspent.
So the
It's also
line item,
disappointing to some people.
the line items will stay true all the way through the budget?
They should.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I mean, you've got folks, like we had an instance the other day of somebody charging mileage to a fuel account, which is not a lot different,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not the same thing.
Correct.
that's right.
That should have been travel and training, not fuel, you know.
But
So-
again, to your point though, with them being able to see that real time, that may go 2 months, 3 months, and then get corrected, as opposed to maybe it goes 9, in the past, it would have gone
Right.
9, 10, maybe a full year.
Yes.
And then we're looking at budget year and so, well, wait a minute,
Why was
why are
this
you
so
over
high?
budget in this line item? Why is this so high? Oh, well, this need to be corrected from 6 months ago.
Right.
Right, so I think that'll help. It'll help the integrity of the budget as far as the line item integrity.
That's right.
Right, as far as making sure things get classified. To your point, you've got so many people in it, so many transactions, but human error, mistakes are gonna happen, but you're able to clean those up and catch those at a lot more efficient clip, I
That's
would
right.
say.
I would hope so, yes, sir.
So how many eyes are looking at that? You'd be looking at that, the person filing would be looking at
Well, I mean,
department head?
well, when we get, I mean, any expenses, anything submitted for a payment has to be signed off by either an authorized purchaser or a department head, essentially. And then it goes to accounts payable when they look at it. Now, these are for purchases less than $2,000. And then eventually it comes through accounting, and we're looking at that stuff all the time. That doesn't mean we're not gonna miss something. I mean, especially if it's a small amount. I hate to say it, but I mean,
Yeah.
you know, anything that requires a purchase order hits purchasing. And there are 2 purchasers up there who review those for compliance to make sure they've done the procurement properly, to make sure that the budget lines up, although the people would know before. Now they know that the budget wasn't there. And then if it's more than 10K, I think the director of purchasing actually reviews it. And right now, anything more than 10K is coming through my office right now for cash flow reasons as well.
Yeah.
And so, but I look at requisitions every morning just to see, you know, see if there's gonna be $500,000 coming out somewhere, I wanna know it.
That's right.
You know, I mean, so,
Do you know the fund balance at this point?
it's not a number that we calculate daily,
Okay, ballpark.
Frank. I mean, it's, I wouldn't wanna tell you. It's one of those things. I mean,
When do we
to
do
provide,
that?
to provide context for that,
Mhm.
we provide a good fund balance once a year, and there's 60 days of, after that, after the close of the fiscal year,
Yeah.
when we work on accruals and things that should have been in that time period. It's not like saying this is what my bank balance is. That's not how a fund balance works. And so, I mean, we can make a pretty good estimate, and you have to guess what's coming, you have to make several assumptions on that. And that's why basically we get a stuck in black bold number fund balance once a year. Because that's when basically when the auditor provides that to us.
Yeah.
It's a difficult thing to say, this is what our fund balance is on this date. We can make estimates, but, what did we estimate the fund balance was on June 30th? Do you remember?
17.3.
I imagine it's probably about 16.9, 17 right now.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, to his point, so the governmental accounting side of this, right, just the nuts and bolts, debits, credits, you wouldn't even be able to give a true, even an accurate guesstimate of the June 30 fund balance until August 31st. Because you've got to go back and capture in July and August revenue collections, expenses, payables, things like that, retroactive to those to June 30, back out the prior years and things of that nature. So, yeah, probably another month from now, you can at least have a better estimate of what that June 30 number is, minus any audit adjustments, things of that nature that would come in. But just from an internal accounting perspective, you really can't give a June 30 number until post August 31st.
Okay.
That makes sense.
How's the audit looking?
We are working diligently, Frank. We're down to about 6 things right now that they need. And there's a lot of confusion when we switched over from the legacy system to the new system. There are some actually transactions that occurred in the previous fiscal year that had caused confusion. And we're working on that this week. We worked on it last week. I want to get done with that because I can't get a fund balance.
Yeah.
To be honest, all I can give you is an estimate.
Sure.
But we're planning on being done because I got to start the next audit.
Yeah.
So, will it get easier once we
Yes.
get Tyler Munis
Oh, 100%.
completely? Okay.
100%. So, this is going to be one of those, there are some process things that needed some improvement over decades. And then working in 2 systems didn't help. And then there's some accountability functions that we are forced to implement due to the software change that are going to be helpful. And there's just a lot of things that are going to be better. I told the mayor, I said, the FY '24 audit, I'm not taking any
Responsibility for that.
That's right. That's right.
FY '25 is gonna be slightly better,
Yeah.
and FY '26, the year that we're in now, is the one that I'm gonna be like, we should be okay.
Good.
That's,
And forgive my questions, I just get curious.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
No, I've lived through a lot of audits, so,
Mhm.
so I completely, I know how this process works, and also, asking about fund balance. I've done that, been through that a lot where, as a college president, where my CFO is like, I can't give you a number, we have all these outstanding debts. I'm like,
no, they're still going through
they're
this.
still going there.
Yes, that's right, that's right. It takes a while after
Takes a
you're in
while,
for the dust to
yeah.
settle, yeah.
But you
exactly.
want to know, you still want to know, even though, you can't.
Our auditors are at the foundation this week.
Yeah.
So,
It's fine. Frank, that's all I've got.
okay. Any other information, business we need to deal with? Thank y'all for being here. Motion to adjourn.
Make the motion.
Would you like to second that?
I don't think we have